Hey girls, happy Friday. I got an eczema rash. It's driving me crazy. Oh, that's a lot, Hannah. 2 inches. That's good. I'm sure you needed it. Hey, guess what? I'm not dying today. I probably will be tomorrow. I'm a sore. That just sounded Italian. I'm a sore. But I soaked in an Epsom salt bath, and therefore, I think it worked. Thank you, Shirley. I think it worked because I'm really sore, but I'm able to get off the toilet. So that's a bonus. I'm able to stand up and sit down without dying. So I win. All right, girls. April 25th. David's justice as king. 2 Samuel 8:15 through 18. So David reigned over all of Israel. Sorry. So David reigned over all of Israel and did what was just and right for all of his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was commander of the army. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the royal historian. Zadok, son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, were the priests. Sariah was the court secretary. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was captain of the king's bodyguard, and David's sons served as priestly leaders. 1 Chronicles 10:14 through 17. So David reigned over all of Israel and did what was just and right for all of his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was commander of the army. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the royal historian. Zadok, son of Ahitub, and Ahimelech, son of Abiathar, were the priests. Sariah was the court secretary. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was the captain of the king's bodyguard, and David's sons served as the king's chief assistants. The Levite clans, 1 Chronicles 6:16 through 30. The sons of Levi were Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The descendants of Gershon included Libni and Shammai. The descendants of Kohath included Amram, Izhar, Hebron, Uziel, and the descendants of Merari included Mali and Mushi. The following were the Levite clans, listed according to their ancestral descent. The descendants of Gershon included Libni, Jahath, Zimmah, Joah, Iddo, Zerah, and Jeatherai. The descendants of Kohath included Aminadab, Korah, Aser, Elkanah, Abiasaph, Aser, Tahath, Uriel, Uzziah, and Shaul. The descendants of Elkanah included Amasi, Ahimoth, Elkanah, Zophai, Nahath, Eliab, Jeroham, Elkanah, and Samuel. The sons of Samuel were Joel, the older, and Abijah, the second. The descendants of Merari included Mali, Libni, Shammai, Uzzah, Shemaiah, Haggai, and Asaiah. Aaron's descendants, 1 Chronicles 6:50 through 53. The descendants of Aaron were Eleazar, Phinehas, Abishua, Buki, Uzi, Zariah, Marioth, Amariah, Ahitub, Zadok, and Ahimaaz. The temple musicians, 1 Chronicles 6:31 through 48. David assigned the following men to lead the music at the house of the Lord after the ark was placed there. They ministered with the music at the tabernacle until Solomon built the temple of the Lord in Jerusalem. They carried out their work, following all the regulations handed down to them. These are the men who served along with their sons. Heman the musician from the clan of Kohath. His genealogy was traced back through Joel, Samuel, Elkanah, Jeroham, Eliel, Toa, Zuph, Elkanah, Mahath, Amasi, Elkanah, Joel, Azariah, Zephaniah, Tahath, Aser, Abiasaph, Korah, Izhar, Kohath, Levi, and Israel. Heman's first assistant was Asaph from the clan of Gershon. Asaph's genealogy was traced back through Berechiah, Shemaiah, Michael, Basaiah, Malchijah, Ethni, Zerah, Adaiah, Ethan, Zimmah, Shammai, Jahath, Gershon, and Levi. Heman's second assistant was Ethan from the clan of Merari. Ethan's genealogy was traced back through Kishi, Abdi, Malach, Hashabiah, Amaziah, Hilkiah, Amzi, Bani, Shemer, Mali, Mushi, Merari, and Levi. Their fellow Levites were appointed to various other tasks in the tabernacle, the house of God. David's kindness to Mephibosheth, 2 Samuel 9:1 through 13. One day, David asked, "Is anyone in Saul's family still alive? Anyone to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" He summoned a man from Ziba, who had been one of Saul's servants. Are you Ziba? The king asked. Yes, sir, I am. Yes, sir, I am, Ziba replied. The king then asked him, is anyone still alive from Saul's family? If so, I want to show God's kindness to them. Is it not amazing how kind and loving David was? As terrible as Saul was to him, and he still wanted to show his family love. Ziba replied, yes, one of Jonathan's sons is still alive. He is crippled in both feet. Where is he? The king asked. In Lo-debar, Ziba told him, at the home of Machir, son of Ammiel. So David sent for him and brought him from Machir's home. His name was Mephibosheth. He was Jonathan's son and Saul's grandson. When he came to David, he bowed low to the ground in deep respect. David said, greetings, Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth replied, I am your servant. Don't be afraid, David said. I intend to show you kindness to you because of my promise to your father Jonathan. I will give you all the property that once belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will eat here with me at the king's table. Mephibosheth bowed respectfully and exclaimed, who is your servant that you should show such kindness to a dead dog like me? Then the king summoned Saul's servant Ziba and said, I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and servants are to farm the land for him to produce food for your master's household. But Mephibosheth, your master's grandson, will eat here at my table. Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Ziba replied, yes, my lord the king, I am your servant, and I will do all that you have commanded. And from that time on, Mephibosheth ate regularly at David's table, like one of the king's own sons. Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah. From then on, all the members of Ziba's household were Mephibosheth's servants, and Mephibosheth, who was crippled in both feet, lived in Jerusalem and ate regularly at the king's table. David defeats the Ammonites. 2 Samuel 10, 1 through 19. Sometime after King Nahash of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun became king, David said, I am going to show loyalty to Hanun, just as his father Nahash was always loyal to me. So David sent ambassadors to express sympathy to Hanun about his father's death. But when David's ambassadors arrived in the land of Ammon, the Ammonite commanders said to Hanun, their master, do you really think that these men are coming here to honor your father? No, David has sent them out to spy in the city so they can come in and conquer it. So Hanun seized David's ambassadors and shaved off half of each man's beard, cut off their robes at the buttocks, and sent them home to David in shame. When David heard what had happened, he sent messengers to tell the men, stay at Jericho until your beards grow out and then come back, for they felt deep shame because of their appearance. When the people of Ammon realized how seriously they had angered David, they sent and hired 20,000 Aramean foot soldiers from the lands of Beth-rehob and Zobah, 1,000 from the king of Maacah, and 12,000 from the land of Tob. When David heard about this, he sent Joab and all of his warriors to fight them. The Ammonite troops came out and drew up their battle lines at the entrance of the city gate, while the Arameans from Zobah and Rehob and the men from Tob and Maacah positioned themselves to fight in the open fields. When Joab saw that he would have to fight on both the front and in the rear, he chose some of Israel's elite troops and placed them under his personal command to fight the Arameans in the fields. He left the rest of the army under the command of his brother Abishai, who was to attack the Ammonites. If the Arameans are too strong for me, then come over and help me, Joab told his brother. And if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I will come and help you. Be courageous. Let us fight bravely for our people and the cities of our God. May the Lord's will be done. When Joab and his troops attacked, the Arameans began to run away. And when the Ammonites saw the Arameans running, they ran from Abishai and retreated into the city. After the battle was over, Joab returned to Jerusalem. The Arameans now realized that they were no match for Israel, so they regrouped. So when they regrouped, they were joined by additional Aramean troops summoned by Hadadezer from the other side of the Euphrates River. These troops arrived at Helam under the command of Shobak, the commander of Hadadezer's forces. When David heard what was happening, he mobilized all Israel, crossed the Jordan River, and led the army to Helam. The Arameans positioned themselves in battle formation and fought against David. But again, the Arameans fled from the Israelites. This time, David's forces killed 700 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers, including Shobak, the commander of their army. When the kings allied with Hadadezer saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they surrendered in Israel and became their subjects. After that, the Arameans were afraid to help the Ammonites. First Chronicles 19, 1 through 19. Sometime after this, King Nahash of the Ammonites died, and his son Hanun became king. David said, I am going to show loyalty to Hanun because of his father Nahash was always loyal to me. So David sent messengers to express sympathy to Hanun about his father's death. But when David's ambassadors arrived in the land of Ammon, the Ammonite commander said to Hanun, do you really think that these men are coming here to honor your father? No. David has sent them to spy out the land so they can come in and conquer it. So Hanun seized David's ambassadors and shaved them and cut off their robes at the buttocks and sent them back to David in shame. When David heard what had happened to the men, he sent messengers to tell them, stay at Jericho until your beards grow out and then come back, for they felt deep shame because of their appearance. When the people of Ammon realized how seriously they angered David, Hanun and the Ammonites sent 75,000 pounds of silver to hire chariots and charioteers from Aram Naharaim, Aram Maacah, and Zobah. They also hired 32,000 chariots and secured the support of King Maacah and his army. These forces camped at Medeba, where they were joined by the Ammonite troops that Hanun had recruited from his own towns. When David heard about this, he sent Joab and all of his warriors to fight them. The Ammonite troops came out and drew up their battle lines at the entrance of the city, while the other kings positioned themselves to fight in the open fields. When Joab saw that he would have to fight on both the front and the rear, he chose some of Israel's elite troops and placed them under his personal command to fight the Arameans in the fields. He left the rest of the army under the command of his brother Abishai, who was to attack the Ammonites. If the Arameans are too strong for me, then come over here and help me, Joab told his brother. And if the Ammonites are too strong for you, I will help you. Be courageous. Let us fight bravely for our people and the cities of our God. May the Lord's will be done. When Joab and his troops attacked, the Arameans began to run away. And when the Ammonites saw the Arameans running, they also ran from Abishai and retreated into the city. Then Joab returned to Jerusalem. Can you run in her room and see if she's awake? Because she wanted to ride with us. She wasn't going to get all dolled up. She just wanted to ride with us. The Arameans now realized that there was no match for Israel, so they sent the messengers and summoned additional Aramean troops from the other side of the Euphrates River. These troops were under the command of Shobak, the commander of Hadadezer's forces. When David heard what was happening, he mobilized all of Israel, crossed the Jordan River, and positioned his troops in battle formation. Then David engaged the Arameans in battle, and they fought against him. But again, the Arameans fled from the Israelites. This time, David's forces killed 7,000 charioteers and 40,000 foot soldiers, including Shobak, the commander of their army. And when Hadadezer's allies saw that they had been defeated by Israel, they surrendered to David and became his subjects. After that, the Arameans were no longer willing to help with the Ammonites. All right. We're on, shut the door on page 63, the points to ponder. Words are powerful indeed. They can build up the weak and tear down the strong. When I speak, my motive should be pure. My method should be love. My means should be grace. If what I intend to say has impure motives, then I shouldn't say it. If I can't say it in love, then I should be quiet. If I cannot season it with grace, then it will be ineffective. We should always be aware of the power of the spoken word, and we should use that power for the right season, to build up and not to tear down. Not only did the Shunammite woman demonstrate that she had a positive proclamation, she was determined to pursue God in the face of her greatest challenge. She spoke in faith and passionately pursued God's presence. 2 Kings 4:24 through 26 says, Then she saddled a donkey and said to her servant, Drive and go forward. Do not slacken the pace for me unless I tell you. And so she departed and went to the man of God at Mount Carmel. So it was, when the man of God saw her afar off, that he said to his servant Gehazi, Look, the Shunammite woman, please run now to meet her and say to her, Is it well with you? Is it well with your husband? Is it well with your child? And she answered, It is well. I can only visualize this part of the story with the imagination I have been given. You may see it completely differently, but somehow I don't think that this affluent woman from Shunem was accustomed to saddling her own donkey. She was in a determined state of mind. She didn't want anything or anyone to hinder her from getting to Elisha. This servant probably stood in amazement at her demeanor and her determination, and he had no idea why she was in this determined mindset. After all, she had just declared, It is well, everything is all right, to her husband. I like to imagine what it must have looked like even from a distance, to Elisha when he saw her hurriedly coming towards him. She was out of her element and was not the least bit worried about proper protocol. She was on a mission, and it showed even from afar. Elisha sent Gehazi to meet her. When Gehazi asked how she was, she answered, "It is well." Her proclamation remained positive, but her pursuit of God was proactive. I will make my pursuit proactive and will not be passive about God's guidance in my life. All right, I'm going to stop there. Right? It does, doesn't it, Faith? I want to go to Mount Caramel.
It's hard to climb. It's very sticky.
Tilson says it's hard to climb. It's very sticky. I'd eat my way up the mountain with crackers.
Crackers and carrots.
I don't know. Not crackers. What goes good at apples? Not crackers. Don't make me laugh. My stomach hurts. Oh.
They must have a mountain made of crackers and caramel.
It does hurt, Faith. My abs are really sore. What kind of food did they serve at the king's table? I think roasted meats and vegetables. Yeah, crackers and caramel. I think roasted meats and vegetables. And I think that because that's what isn't that what they tried to feed Daniel? And Daniel said, "No, we just want the vegetables, none of the roasted meats and the bread. Bread, roasted meat, honey, vegetables." I think they're oh, Susan. PT is tough. I'm sorry. It is no fun. PT after surgery is really, really hard. Yes. But if you have serious pain, definitely tell them. And girl, you just had surgery. Don't be afraid to take the pills you've been prescribed. Why?
You'll regret it.
It's been sitting there. This whole vet sits there every morning. Mind your business. I took my pain pills after surgery right until they were gone. I didn't take a break. I was too afraid. I'm wimpy. Have we met? I don't like to have pain. So, all right, let's go ahead and end in prayer. God, our Father, we thank you for this time, this medium, to be able to join together across the globe and have devotions together and read the word and learn and get the reminders of your love for us every day. God, I pray for each and every woman here and the struggles they may be going through, the difficulty and the financial struggles, health struggles, loss. God, we lift up Susan to you today and ask for your healing for her and pain relief for her, and ask for her to recover quickly from this surgery so that it's just all behind her and she's feeling better. Lord, I just praise you for each woman here and their consistency and their time spent in the word together. And I pray that it is honoring to you. God, I pray today that as we go through this day, as we approach the weekend, that you'll help us to make wise choices and to be consistent today, continuing through the weekend, and not facing today as an opportunity to get back on Monday. And just pray that you'll give us strength and provide us with the means we need to make healthy choices. In your holy name I pray. Amen. All right, my friends, thanks for joining me. Not cooking breakfast this morning. If I have time later today, I'll go live for lunch. But this morning, I got to run the car for a oil change. So we're headed out for that. And then I have one-on-ones and stuff all afternoon. So if I have time, I will come on live. And if not,